Podcast hosting provided by Transistor. If you want to host your own show, head over to transistor.fm and start a 14-day free trial.
Hello and welcome to Regen, the electric racing podcast. I'm your host Dino, and I'm here with a man who's never without nautical socks, Nath. How you doing, Nath?
Wow. I'm bare feet at the moment because it is stinking hot here in New Zealand. But thanks for having me.
Right, well that blows that out of the window. And I'm also joined by returning guest Chris Soulsby from Motorsport Monday. How you doing there, Chris?
Very good, thank you. Great to be back on. Recovering from a bit of a cold, so sorry if I'm a bit sniffly. But yeah, good to be back on and happy to join you both.
Brilliant. We're very sorry that we got you up early again to come on the pod, but very thankful.
No worries. It's always good to be on. So I just have to wake up.
Okay, so let's crack on and start with Media of the Week. I'll start. My Media of the Week is Coast Season 5. So we have checked out Coast New Zealand and thought, well, Neil Oliver's pretty cool. And so Season 5 is all about the UK, and Episode 1 focuses on the Isle of Man. Very interesting.
Ooh.
And yeah, there's lots to go through. They've got a really cool water wheel on the Isle of Man that helped in the gold mining days to make sure they didn't get flooded, which was pretty neat.
Wow.
#learning. And recommend it. Fully recommend it. So, Nath, what have you been watching?
I haven't been watching a whole lot. I've been watching quite a bit of cricket actually lately. India's touring New Zealand at the moment, so we're in the midst of series of one-day internationals. So I've just come from there to the podcast, and we're probably going to lose drastically again. So I don't mind missing too much of the second half.
Oh, okay. Well, let's hope for a comeback.
Yeah, being thoroughly outplayed.
Yep. And Chris,
I haven't really been watching anything recently, but
listening to anything?
I've been topping up on my well, not really either. Been watching a lot of sitcoms on TV. Probably Are You Being Served, a show from the 70s, 80s. If you get a chance, check it out.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, genuinely, I know. Call me a man of the world. But no, check it out.
I've got no idea what this is. Nice.
If you're listening from the UK, tune into Gold
I've
HD
heard of
or
it.
just Gold. It's brilliant. You've got to watch it. It's funny. It's very niche humour, but it's good. It's very good. So yeah, that's been my life for the past week. But great fun.
Nice.
And I also hear you're binging the 24 Hours of Daytona.
Yeah, I watched a bit of the Daytona 24 Hours, did a bit of stuff for the magazine on that front. That's why I'm tired.
We look forward to reading it.
Yeah, it'll be good. I hope it is.
I'm sure it will be. If it's up to the standard of the last few magazines, it'll be one to read.
Ah, brilliant, yeah. To give it a peek.
Alrighty. So, into the news. Jean-Eric Vergne has called the incident between Sam Bird and himself last week at the opening corner of the Marrakesh Eprix his biggest mistake in his Formula E career. So he made a late lunge on the inside of turn 1 and basically sent himself to the back of the field. Now, a couple of quotes here from Jev. We're racing drivers at the end of the day and we go for the gap. So when I saw it, I went for it, but quickly realised that I couldn't make it. So I had to spin the car so that I didn't crash into Sam, as I didn't want to ruin his race. Today was my fault, but if this is the biggest mistake I've done in Formula E so far. Wow. So, Jean-Eric Vergne, to take out Sam Bird would have been an absolute catastrophe, but good on Jeff for owning up.
Yeah, and overall, he still had a very impressive race afterwards as well. You know, he kept himself well in the points, obviously not as well as he would have hoped to, but still, you know, worked his way up the field to take 5th in the end, so...
It was a great recovery drive, it really was. So,
yeah,
brilliant from him. And also his teammate Lotterer was quite behind him, but started 20th, so, yeah, you can't really... They both did a pretty good job in the end.
Yeah, I would say so. I know. I think Jeff was very frustrated after the race because if he had not made the mistake in turn 1, he would have been the firm favourite for that victory in Marrakesh. And that's what
I think so.
Starting from 20th to finish in 6th was again quite a good job. So 5-6 for DS Techeetah, and not what they would have been searching for. But yeah. You know, I think it's very justified that Vern took responsibility for that. It was a very opportunistic move, and it did pay the price.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, and that pretty much is our news. So, we'll move straight into stuff from Santiago. We'll look at the fan boost first, and this is one of my favourite things. Nath, obviously not so much, but Chris, I think we talked last time about your view of the fan boost.
Yes,
what are your thoughts on it?
Did.
And yep, okay then.
I mean, I like fan boost. I think it's good.
So, Chris, what do you think that there's not only 5 people that get it every week that we've seen? Verline, DaCosta, Abt, Buemi, Van Dorn, D'Ambrosio, Massa, and Degrassi get it. Sharing it around a bit.
I mean, I think that's good because, with the top 5 getting fan boost now, it really does open up the voting. And obviously we've got the increased field size of 22. So last season we saw a lot of repeat drivers getting fan boost. It was only the top 3 that got fan boost last season. We saw Daniel Abt get 12 fan boosts in something like 13 races, which was crazy. And we'll still see this season again with Van Dorn. I mean, Van Dorn got 16% of the vote, which was crazy stuff. But I think it's good because different faces are popping up into fan boost. I know at the start of the season I was predicting Massa to be in the top 5 in virtually every race for fan boost, but to see D'Ambrosio up there was quite a surprise.
It was, and also DaCosta 3 out of 3 so far in the fan boost. Is that surprising to you?
Kind of. I mean, last season wasn't his best season on record. It was a very tough year for Andretti, obviously. But I think following his pace from pre-season testing and getting that win at Algeria, it's probably helped his fan base grow quite a lot because he is a driver who does deserve success in Formula E because he's been there near to the beginning. So, you know, he's much overdue that success.
And Nath, is this slowly appeasing you that more than 5 people get the fan boost?
Yeah, look, I have to say, Dean, you're painting me every time we talk about this as a real fan boost hater, and you know I have been in the past. But sorry, having 5 people getting it now, you know, just having more than that same 3 people every time, it is appeasing me.
Brilliant.
I am coming to. I'm coming to enjoy it. I haven't yet reached the stage of voting every day, like yourself, Dean. But you never know. Maybe by the end of the season.
Yeah. See, this is the reason why Mitch Evans hasn't got it yet, Nath. Yeah. Maybe
it might also be because he's not on a. Well, you know, going back to what we talked about last week, maybe he's not driving for one of the biggest manufacturers with the largest amount of resources to pull fan boost boats.
That could potentially be it as well. And also interesting, Stoffel Van Dorn getting less of the vote every single time. He's down to 16%,
Yes.
and 7% no longer the magic number. You needed 10.71, which was Da Costa. So,
What did Stoffel Van Dorn get in the first race? Because he was up at 60% in one stage, wasn't he?
yeah, he was, but I think
It was
he got
something,
around
some
the
ridiculous margin.
30s.
I want to say about 25% or something like that. I can't quite remember now.
I think it was higher than that. I think 25% was last race.
Yeah.
And Dario, I think he got 30-something% of the vote, yeah. Which is just crazy. But we'll see how he goes next time. He definitely needs some love after his performance, but we'll get to that. So, qualifying. What were your thoughts on qualifying, guys?
Unpredictable, I would say. And surprising as well. The pace of the Group 1 runners really, really, really did shake up the grid, in all honesty. Because I don't know if everyone knows, but in Group 1, the track conditions were much, much slower compared to the other three groups. So this left the first 5 runners of qualifying, which was D'Ambrosio, Verne, Lotterer, the other two. It's too early in the morning over here.
Jeff.
Brian, yeah. You read it, you've probably got it in front of you.
No, I don't, but he wasn't happy about the track evolution, so that's in my notes. So, yeah, Jeff obviously could see that the track was evolving, all the leaves were getting swept away by him and everyone else in the first group, and it was pretty well evident with all of the second group beating everyone the fastest in the first group. So, yeah, there was no way that Jeff was starting high up the grid, which is a shame.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Verne actually top Group 1 with a 1 minute 9.307 second lap. And that was fairly pacey, I would say, compared to the other runners in that group. And with Group 2, we saw him pushed into 6th immediately. And at that point, you kind of realise that you're not going to be in Super Bowl. So
yeah, that was hard. So D'Ambrosio, he looked like he had pace, but he made a mistake in the first corner, and that was him done. So a long way behind. I expected more from D'Ambrosio after the performance of last race.
Yeah, I would say so. I think the Mahindra has shown pace, but I think he made a mistake in turn 1, and that left him in 21st at the end of qualifying. Later to be 20th. But that really did hamper him, in all honesty. He was only faster than Tom Dillman in the Neo.
Oh, don't diss Tom. We like Tom on the show.
Tom Dillman is great. Tom Dillman is great. So
he is.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Tom, if you're listening, I gave you a fan boost vote. So yeah. No, we like Tom on the show. Degrassi, he knew something was up after his qualifying lap, even before he got into Super Pole. Braking too much. This is an interesting one. Braking too much and heating up the brakes.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what was going on here, because I didn't quite get the full story.
Do you have more on this, Chris?
So, from my understanding, after Marrakesh, Formula E implemented a new rule because your man Tom Dillman had brake failure on his in-lap after his group qualifying run.
Yeah, love you, Tom.
That caused him to crash into Robin Frines, and Frines then hit the back of Bird, and so on. And it was a very messy accident in the pit lane. And from my understanding, Formula E have introduced this rule where it means that drivers have to brake in the same pattern on their in-lap as to what they did on their fast lap. Don't quote me on this. But Degrassi infringed this new rule, which is the slow in-lap procedure, and that meant he was excluded from the final result.
Right.
So,
yeah, I think he probably should have got a grid drop instead of getting chucked out. I mean, he'd done his lap, broken the rules after he'd done the lap. Yeah, that's way too harsh. Your thoughts, Nath?
Yeah. I suppose it's always harsh when you have a new rule. Do you provide some leniency, because it's the first time everyone's, being exposed to this rule, it's only come about in the last week or two, or do you go hard on the first offenders to try and gain compliance with everyone else and scare everyone else into following it in future? So, yeah, it's I can see the reasons for the rule now, but it does seem pretty hard and pretty obscure to follow as a driver.
Yeah, that's annoying, and you could feel his frustration, but yeah, hopefully he learns from it. And Audi looked really pacey. I mean, he was half a second quicker. It was a great lap.
He was very fast.
That's a real shame for them.
He was half a second faster than at the end when Buemi qualified in second. But after qualifying, Degrassi called it the stupidest rule that motorsport has ever created, which probably left a Formula E press officer quivering in the background. But yeah,
probably poor press
yeah,
officer.
But I think with these penalties, at least make them wider knowledge potentially, or just make it easier to understand for the fans, because it's a hard penalty to get your head around if you are new to Formula E.
Yeah, especially when it's a penalty that is either for not doing something or for doing something that isn't in the race and isn't in qualifying, but isn't like a physical thing or a excessive power usage or weight or something that everyone's quite used to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's hit someone or he's had something illegal on his car. He's just used his brakes too much or too little. We don't know. So yeah, that's very, very harsh. Alrighty. Super Pole, definitely the Degrassi show, and then Buemi, and then Pascal Wehrlein. I was excited to see Pascal, to see what he could do, and he was wringing the neck of that car. He was on it. Last episode, I think Toby was very, very complimentary of Pascal. What were your thoughts on him, Chris?
I think on the run-up to Marrakesh, I said that Wehrlein in the top 6 for Super Bowl was one of my predictions, and he was 7th in Marrakesh, which was slightly annoying. I had to eat my own words on that one by one position. But
you can just claim it, I think.
Yeah, just hide away on that one. But in Santiago, I thought it was good to see Wehrlein inside the top 6. Because he is a guy who can make quite a big impact in Formula E from the outset, I think. And we did see that. He topped the group qualifying stages by 0.2 of a second, I believe. Just under. Thoroughly impressive, in all honesty, because Pascal Wehrlein's only 24 years old. When you think that he's had 2 years of experience in Formula 1 driving for Sauber and Manor, and he's also a DTM champion, that's very impressive. It's very impressive.
It is, yeah. Oh well, look forward to seeing how he goes in Mexico. So we'll move into the race and the main talking points. First up, I've got Roland pushing Massa into the wall. This one was a bit sloppy from Roland, but I thought, part of me thinks, well, they're new cars, it's should Massa have braked there, or are we just looking at Roland being a bully?
I feel like Massa is having a really hard time. Really hard introduction to Formula E. People certainly aren't, giving him the he's a well experienced driver respect that they may have given him. He's certainly getting the tough end of the stick.
Yeah, but I think, Roland's a rookie. Massa's a rookie. They probably don't care,
Yeah, true.
Do you have any thoughts on this, Chris?
With the Massa retirement, no, I've got some stuff to say. With the Massa retirement, according to Massa's quotes post-race, he tried to overtake Max Gunther, got pushed out wide and hit the wall on the entry into turn 14. Then, because he was offline, was pushed into the wall again by Roland. So it was two separate bits of contact that brought his race to an end. But I think it was, well, potentially a little bit greedy from Roland. But at the end of the day, you've got to push past and get all the positions you can in Formula E. And overtaking wasn't there wasn't that much overtaking in Santiago as well. But it has been a very, very difficult start for Massa. He took 17th in Algeria, 18th in Marrakesh, and then retired in Santiago. So, yeah. And I think that those struggles
It's going to get harder as well.
It is. It is. And I think his struggles potentially reflected the fan base voting for him. So the race was in Chile. He's from Brazil. It's the same continent you would expect. You would expect that Massa would get a lot of voting there, but no. So
that is interesting. And it could potentially get harder with Mortara doing a really good job this race.
Yeah, Mortara was very impressive. And he took Venturi's first points of the year.
Yeah,
so,
any Venturi car.
I think Felipe might have been a little bit disappointed about that. Because definitely many expected that Massa would have the upper hand over Mortara this season. He's already 12 points behind now.
I mean, I fully expected it. Don't know about you, Nath.
Yeah. I thought Felipe Massa coming in would, he would be way more competitive than he's been so far, just from his years of experience.
Moving along, Buemi, spinning it into the wall while leading the race. Now, I've got to say, this one, I could see it coming, to be honest. And especially after he missed practice 2, because he absolutely munted his car, similar place. Now, what's going on with Buemi this year?
With Buemi crashing out in turn 1, he was in a prime position to win that race. If he had won, it would have been his first win since Berlin 2017. So he was probably weeping after that. But, yeah.
And was it a problem with the car, or was it just driver error?
I think it certainly wasn't helped by the track starting to break up as well.
Yeah, that's true, Nath. I saw a post after the race that the track looked terrible. It was all over the place.
It certainly seemed the further you got into the race that, as soon as they were slightly offline, just compounded any error exponentially.
And we saw that with Stoffel Van Dorn, just getting, defending in the wrong spot and then into the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't catch a break, can he? At the moment. I mean, he was looking really good, qualified well. I think he started 5th.
Yeah, Van Dorn started in 5th. He was running in 6th and then crashed out. And of course, the second full course yellow of the race. I think the track conditions really played a part of this. I mean, the track was effectively melting, in all honesty, because they were racing in 37-degree heat, which is Formula E's hottest ever race.
Mate.
So
that's right. Yeah.
And there's been a lot of questions about the actual safety of the Parque O'Higgins circuit after the weekend because there was so much marbling. So we'll see what comes of that. But very unlucky for Van Dorn. Very unlucky.
Very unlucky, for sure. Okay, Pascal Wehrlein, good race from him. He kept out of trouble and a 2nd place. Very, very good. We won't go into him again. Sam Bird, what did you think of his race, Nath?
I was really impressed. I think even if Buemi hadn't crashed into the wall, I think we would have seen Sam Bird try and make some very aggressive moves later on just to get in first place. So I think he did well with Wehrlein behind him for most of the second half of the race, fairly closely. He did well to hold on to that, and I think he deserved the win.
Yeah, one thing I'm going to ask now, there was a couple of safety cars, a couple of full course yellows. Well, I think there was only full course yellows, but Sam Bird was very, very low on energy at the end of the race. Do you think, potentially, if there wasn't as many crashes, would we have seen the Envision Virgin run out of energy? Or him dropping down the order?
It's interesting you say that, because I noticed on that last lap and a half, Wehrlein really pulled back with battery temperature issues, I think it was.
It was, yeah.
But he still seemed to have a couple of percent more energy than Bird. So whether it's a difference in the cars or, whether Bird was just pushing it to the limit and not kind of considering that, I think that's a good point, Dean. It would have been quite interesting to see what would have happened.
I think that's a very interesting point. In all honesty, I hadn't actually even thought about that. But yeah, we saw Sam cross the finishing line with about 3%, I think. But without full course yellows, it would have been very interesting to watch. Because, I mean, with the track temperatures as well, when the temperatures are very high in a Formula E race, battery car performance goes down. Battery life becomes critical, and that's why we saw Pascal Wehrlein really slow down towards the end, just to manage that problem. If those 2 full course yellows hadn't come out, we would have probably seen a lot of drivers struggling, which could have been a very difficult situation for Formula E, with cars running out of energy in the last lap.
I would have loved that. That would have been, yeah. That's what I'm about.
Yeah,
okay.
would have been anarchy.
Let's go into it. There was only 14 cars that actually finished the race. Maximilian Gunther, he stopped. Full course yellow. Unfortunate for Maxi, because he was running well. We had Van Dorn, we had Buemi, we had who else did we have?
Vern. Da Costa retired as well.
Oh, Vern decided to Da Costa.
Dillman.
Yeah. Tom Dillman.
Roland as well retired.
Yeah, Roland as well. So
it's a long old list.
It was just absolute carnage. It is. And it's not normally that long.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8 retirements.
8 retirements versus the usual 3, 4.
Yeah, that's pretty telling. Tough race.
And some big names in there retiring as well.
Big names, big championship protagonist names.
I think we had a discussion about it last podcast when we were making our predictions about Santiago, and I remember saying I don't think we haven't seen the full potential of Jean-Eric Vergne yet, and we certainly didn't this season, or this race, sorry. So I can imagine he's only getting more and more frustrated when he knows he's got the pace, but it's these mistakes, those first corner mistakes and getting tipped around and having a few issues this race. I'm really interested to see how he's going to pull that into the next couple of races.
And before we get on to driver of the day, Daniel Abt, he was going about it very quietly. What did you think of his race, Chris?
I'd say it was his best race. I think in his case, slow and steady didn't win the race, but it did get him a podium. Thank you. He was very consistent with his lap times. He stayed out of trouble, kept his nose clean, and it was good enough for third. He got third because Alexander Sims got a post-race time penalty. And that was because he allegedly spun Eduardo Mortara. The cameras picked it up, but Sims didn't seem to think that any contact was actually made in between the two, which is quite an interesting.
It was the slightest tap. Little tap.
Slightest nudge, if anything.
At just the right point around a corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was unlucky for Sims. Okay. Driver of the day. I'm going to go with Pascal Wehrlein. Nath?
Oh, I have to agree with you there, Dean, with Pascal. If he hadn't had those battery temperature issues coming into the last few laps, I think we probably would have seen him try another lunge or two on Sam Bird, so that could have had some interesting results there.
Well, that would have been spicy. Yes,
yeah.
We want that. We want that in Mexico. Chris?
For me, it is between either Robin Freins or Sam Bird. So I think it's very difficult to pick between the two Envision Virgin drivers. So with Frines, he started in 15th place and then finished in 5th. That could have been 4th because he tried a nice overtake around the outside of Edward and Mortara, only to get shoved into the wall. But for Bird, he started in 4th, overtook Abt at the end of lap 1, then cleared Verline, and then obviously got the lead at the end because of Buemi's accident. But I think Bird was exceptional to be able to, clear 2 quick drivers, and then pressure Buemi enough so you would make that mistake in the end.
I have to say, we haven't talked about it this episode, but solid drive for Mitch Evans as well.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
From starting a wee way back down the grid, kept himself out of trouble for the most part of the race, and just picked up some solid overtakes, and with a decent finish in 6th.
And at one point, it was an absolute melee in the midfield. It was like 4 or 5 cars that were, and then Gary Paffett, I think, was lapped, and he was in the middle of it all, and everyone was just going for it.
And everyone just nose to tailing at the hip, and seemingly every lap there was more contact. So
yeah, no, good on you, Mitch.
Yeah, it was a good result for Mitch.
Okay, predictions. We have a prediction league, so if you would like to join the prediction league and contribute, what we do is we pick Super Pole, Podium, and the first retirement. Dan from Formula E, Formula 1/Formula E reviews, does it with us, and he went with, for Super Pole, DaCosta, Verne, Verline, Degrassi, Lotera, and Evans. Podium, Verne, Verline, and Fraines. And his first retirement, PK Jr. I like that. I went with Apt, Evans, Fraines, Verline, and Bird, and I couldn't think who else would have got there. For Super Pole, Podium, Apt, which I got, Evans, and Fraines. First retirement, Gary Paffett. Nath, what did you go with?
I'm a bit slower on these things, so I went for Super Pole, Apt, Bird, Jean-Eric Verne, Mitch Evans, and Antonio Felix DaCosta. And I was expecting Jev to take out the podium this time, which was disappointing. And first retirement, Felipe Massa, just to keep things spicy.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, he certainly hasn't had much luck recently, so it's probably a good shout. Okay, updates to the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship. It has moved around slightly. It's getting interesting.
Yeah, so starting from the bottom, we have HWA Race Lab with 0 points still. Geox Dragon with 2 points. Neo sitting with 4. Venturi with 12. Nissan Edams on 21. Closely followed by Panasonic Jaguar on 23. Audi Sport App Schaeffler on 30, with BMW Andretti in 4th with 46 points. DS Cheetah in 3rd with 47 points. Mahindra on 59, and currently leading the Constructors' Championship, Envision Virgin Racing on 71 points.
71 points.
Got a good lead.
Race 1, 0. Race 2, 36. Race 3, 35. Incredible. They're going well. Robin Fraines and Sam Bird.
To be honest, Mahindra are doing very well to be in second as well. Out of 6 finishes, 3 races, 2 cars, they've had 2 retirements in there, so they're doing well to be with 59 points.
They are. Do you want to add anything, Chris?
I think Envision Virgin have been particularly impressive. They missed out in the top 10 in the first race, but then 36 points in Marrakesh and then 35 in Santiago is definitely a good result. They're also an independent team this year, obviously, and they're using the Audi customer powertrain from the Works team. So I think that's very interesting to look at. It's a similar situation to what Techeetah had in Season 4 with their relationship to Renault Edams. But obviously Envision Virgin have not had as much testing as the Audi Works team. Although I do think that they did get some of Audi's powertrain testing time in just ahead of pre-season test and in private testing. Obviously Mahindra, again, very strong start.
It's interesting to see the customer team outperforming the Audi factory team by quite a significant margin. Obviously, still early days, and we'll see how that plays out. But Yeah.
It is interesting to see that. I mean, you saw Techeetah absolutely destroy what was Renault Edams last season. Do you think Envision can continue this charge, Nath?
Sam Bird is such a fast driver, and he's got so much experience. So I certainly think they're going to be right up there towards the end of the season. But we've got a similar situation developing now that we had with Audi last season as well, where the first couple of races were an absolute write-off for them. But then they came right back with really consistent finishes towards the end of the season. Who knows? It's anyone's game. Well, not quite anyone. There's a few teams that we don't think are going to make it, but...
Yeah, we'll just not mention them. Right. Chris, just finally, do you think Envision can keep the charge going?
I think it's too early to say. Last year we saw Audi obviously resurge in Mexico City, and there was something like eight consecutive podium finishes for the team in the final 8 races. So I think there is plenty of time for Audi to really attack that customer team in the nicest way possible. Yeah, I think it is anyone's game at the moment. We haven't seen DS Techeetah fulfill their maximum potential.
Absolutely not.
They've been quite unlucky so far this year. They actually, in Santiago, with Lovera finishing in 13th and Verne retiring, that ended a scoring streak of 20 races for Techeetah.
Wow.
Which is an unfortunate end to a nice statistic. So.
That's pretty impressive. You're pretty much looking at 2 seasons of scoring every time. Not bad.
Last non-score was the 2017 Paris Eprix.
To put another statistic in there as well, Sam Bird, first driver to finish a race in first in all 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible, to win a race in every season. So, do you think, I mean, he's driving very quickly, and I mean, round 1 was a bit of a bogey, but I think he'll continuously pick up points, and that's the reason. I mean, he seems to be one of the title protagonists every year, and I think that's going to continue.
Yeah, I would say so. He's a very he's just a very reliable driver. In all honesty, if there's a man that you need behind the wheel of a car, it's Sam Bird. He will always push an overtake on track. And I do agree. If Buemi hadn't crashed in turn 7, I think he would have eventually gotten past the Nissan.
Yeah, I think he would have got there in the end anyway. Okay, so the driver standings. We'll start from the people that have points. So without points at the moment, Felipe Massa, Stoffel Van Dorn, Gary Paffett, Tom Dillman, Maximilian Gunther, that was unlucky. Okay, Nelson Piquet Jr. in 17th with 1 point. Just got to say as well, Mitch Evans, absolutely destroying Piquet once again. And it's turning into a bad statistic if Piquet can't get one over on Evans. Jose Maria Lopez with 2 points. Oliver Turvey, 4 points. Good pickup for Neo. Oliver Rowland, 6 points. Lucas de Grassi, 9. Eduardo Mortara, 12. Buemi with 15. Sims and Verline with 18. Andre Lotterer with 19. Daniel Abt, 21. Mitch Evans, 22. Jean-Eric Verne, Robin Fraines, and Antonio Felix da Costa all with 28. D'Ambrosio with 41. And Sam Bird, 43, and moves to the top of the championship. Following on from that, is there any last thoughts from you, Chris or Nath?
I think from what you said about Piquet with 1 point compared to Evans's 22, that is turning into a bit of a bad statistic for Piquet. But I think this is going to be controversial. I do think Evans is the better driver. Mic drop.
Well, it won't be controversial on this show.
So, yeah.
It might be the only show it's not controversial on, Chris. So.
Yeah, you're free to say that on the show.
Yeah. Well, I'm thoroughly looking forward to Mexico City in a couple of weeks. Every race this season has just upped the hype for the next one, and it is keeping on building. So look forward to all the excitement then.
Okay, Chris, where can we find you on the internet? I know you said it last time, but Twitter, web pages, where can we read some of your stuff?
So you can read my work on motorsportweek.com, which is our typical news outlet. And every Monday we publish Motorsport Monday, which is a weekly motorsport magazine. Published every Monday, hence the name. And we have a UK, US and South African edition. I'm friending Formula E, that's why I'm on here. So I do know things. Then personally, you can follow me on Twitter at Chris_Soulsby. I have a Facebook page, there's one of those. And that's by typing in at Chris Soulsby Journalist. And on Instagram, you can follow me on Chris_Soulsby as well. So it's fairly simple.
Excellent.
Okay. If you want to have a chat to us, Nathan and I are at hello@regenracingpodcast.com. We've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and regenracingpodcast.com. I've sorted us some stickers, so if you want some stickers, we're on Patreon, so there is a tier where you can sign up and support us every month and get some stickers and some other cool rewards. But to be honest, if you email us, we'll probably give you some stickers anyway. Also, just quickly, if you could please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, that would be really appreciated. Our intro music is Danelle Armour featuring Sarah De Warren Gallery, and we thank him for letting us use that as our intro. So, I've been Dean.
And I'm Nathan.
And I'm Chris, again, for the second time.
Okay.
I might do that again.
Alrighty. I'm going to leave this in. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Yeah, bye.